Hello children. In this session, let us continue the same chapter, the impact of the British rule in India. In this session, we are going to discuss remaining acts passed by the British government. In the previous session, we understood the acts implemented by the East India Company. Now, let us understand the acts which was implemented by the British government. The British Government Act of 1858 to 1947. When India turned against the East India Company during the British Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, due to the corruption and not for respecting Indians, the power of India was transferred to Queen Victoria from the East India Company. During this period, India Government Act of 1858, 1861, 1892, 1909, 1919 and 1935 were started. Even these acts became historically important due to the improvement done during these acts. Firstly, let us learn about the Indian Government Act of 1858, which was implemented by British government. This act was implemented after the civil and military revolt of 1857. The England Queen Victoria announced that administration of India will be taken care by the British government from 1st November 1858. With this, Indian Government Act of 1858 made the following changes. Now let us go through the features of Indian Government Act of 1858. Firstly, India came under the direct control of Queen Victoria and the license of East India Company was cancelled. Governor General post was changed into Viceroy and Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. Also, the new post Secretary of State for India was introduced in the British government and he was responsible for the administration of India. The Council of India was introduced to assist the Secretary in administration and Council had 15 members. Next, we can go through the Indian Council Act of 1861. This act came into effect after 1857 revolt. Here, Indians were allowed to participate in process of creating the laws and representation was given to Indians and this was called as a policy of assertion. Let us understand the important features of this act. Firstly, the Indians were nominated as non-officials to the Council of Viceroy. Here, non-official members are the members nominated by the Governor General but not as a working as official members. Secondly, during the emergency situation, Viceroy had the power to take ordinances, that is important decisions with his authority. So this was the Indian Council Act of 1861. Next we can discuss about the Indian Council Act of 1892. After the Indian Council Act of 1861, this Act of 1892 further extended the participation of Indians in the legislative bodies. Legislative bodies are the assemblies to make laws in city or state government. The ideas given by the Congress organization to improve the British administration helped in increasing the Indian representatives or leaders in the government. The main features of Indian Council Act of 1892. The number of additional members in the regional and central legislative bodies was increased. The Legislative Council authority was increased by allowing discussion on budget related issues. Provisions was made to question the government on public issues by serving 6 days notice in advance. By these features, the Indians started participating in the Legislative Council. Next is the Indian Council Act of 1909. As this act was implemented by Lord Minto, the Viceroy of India, and Lord Morley was the Secretary of State for India. So it was called as a Minto-Morley reforms. Here the focus was mainly on divide and rule policy in India. Now let us see the main features of this act. Firstly, the total number of central legislature member was increased from 60 to 16 members. The number of regional council members was also increased. Representation of regional council was allowed through the election for the first time, and Muslims were given separate representation opportunities by creating separate electorate college. Next is the Government of India Act of 1919. During the First World War, the active participants of Indians made the Secretary of State for India, named Lord Montagu, argued to provide representation to Indians for an election in the administration role. In the beginning, he wanted the Indians to participate to build the government slowly. Later, the Viceroy, called Lord Chelmsford, announced many improved changes supporting Indians to the British Parliament in the year 1917. This report, submitted by Lord Chelmsford, was accepted in the Indian Council Act of 1919. These are the reasons why it is called as a Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Now let us understand the main features of this act. Firstly, bicameral legislative bodies was formed. This is the government system divided into two assemblies called as a lower house and the upper house. The upper house enclosed the officials of Britishers, whereas the lower house consists of Governor General of India, Indian officials and others. Both the houses' decisions were taken to create law. Secondly, diarchy system was present in the central government and granted permission to start even in the regional government. Later, High Commissioner's post was introduced in India, and also the local government was improved slowly. The provisional budget was separated by central budget, and also to participate in election, the separate electoral college was first started for Muslims. Later, it was extended to Sikhs, Anglo-Indians and the Europeans. And lastly, in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the Government of India Act of 1935. The report, submitted under the leadership of Motilal Nehru in 1928, gave birth to this act. Also, this act played an important role in building the Indian Constitution with proper laws and included responsible Indian officials in the government. The main features of this act was, firstly, the federal system was applied with the central government divided from the state government, where this act is followed by both the princely state, that is the Indian principalities, as well as the British controlled regions. Diarchy, which is double government system established in the central government by cancelling the regional levels of the state. Reserve Bank of India was also introduced in this act. Through this act helped the British for some level. The ultimate benefit for taken by Indians, because all these acts not only helped building the Indian Constitution, improved the political conditions of India, but also developed leadership skill among the Indians to manage and control the Indian government on their own. Children, from this chapter you will be getting 3-mark question. And in this session we are going to end this chapter. Thank you, children.